All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and put some Loctite on all these screws and get these completely ready to be equipped onto the helicopter. What I like to do is just put some Loctite onto a piece of paper or something like that. That way you can just dip your bolt in it and then screw it in. Let's do these 3 on the bottom. All right, now let's get all of them that are on the top. Four more, and then this swash is done, guys. All right. Swash is ready to be installed. Now let's go through the head. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pull the feathering shaft. So for that you need 2 Allen keys, 1 at each end. And then you're going to need something to grip this, guys, because you need to be able to pull this bolt out as well. So we want to wrap it in something and then use some vice grips on it. There we go. Now we don't need to completely take this head apart or anything. Literally all we have to do is pull the bolts out, put thread lock, and then put them back. If there's any grease or anything, you need to get that removed out of there. All right, that's actually going to just make your Loctite not work that well. All right, guys, pro tip on this, it's actually best to put your Loctite in here. Because if you put your Loctite on your bolt and then you run it through all these bearings that are inside of this grip, if any of that Loctite seeps into the bearing and freezes, right, it's going to lock up your bearing. And I actually see this very frequently. I take apart, I feel like the head isn't working very well on a helicopter that I get from somebody. It's used, or maybe I'm just working on it. And I take the head apart, and it's because they have ruined the bearings by getting Loctite down into the bearing. So the best way to do this is actually to put your Loctite in like this. And then you can slip your main shaft through and grab one of your bolts. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. And then you can actually just put your finger on this stuff here so that it doesn't, when you push this through, it doesn't push all your bearings out and they just fall out. One on each side and really give this thing a nice tightening. And you want to make sure that those are really tight. It's highly unlikely that you're going to strip either one of these out because they are great big hexes, right? So you really want to bear down on it, make sure it's good. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and Loctite this screw right here, and then this one, and then we'll start working our way down. Pretty amazed that they only use one screw on this. Wow, these are some long freaking screws. Again, you do not want to put Loctite on this screw and then push it through these bearings. That's always a bad idea because a bunch of your Loctite is going to get inside the bearing. So you definitely do not want to do that. All right, guys, so we got these two done here. We need to do this one and this one. And we just got two more things, and that's these right here. The head is completely reworked, and it's all Loctited. So, let's go ahead and get out these. So these are going to be the links that go from the Swash down to the servo. Figured out what length that these are supposed to be, so the inside of the three that go down to the servos, from the very inside of this plastic to the very inside of the over here, is supposed to be 30.5 millimeters. So let's go ahead and get all these assembled, and then we'll set the gap. Remember, when starting these eyelets, one of them is reverse threaded, and that was this one, and then this one is normal. There we go. That one is set, and we'll do the other three. The last one is perfect as well. Now we can move on to the links for the blade grips. Looks like it's going to work the same with the ones for the blade grips, guys. The longer side is the one that's reverse threaded. So these, they actually measure the whole thing, not just the inside. So they say that they should be 64.75. We're close, but we're not there yet. Need to shrink it a little bit more. There we go, guys. It just barely fits in there. Let's do the last one here. So there are all of our links assembled. We can actually go ahead and assemble the ball link onto the servo horn. So we are going to put the cyclic servo ones in the middle hole, and then the rudder will go in the closest one. So you want to put the screw through the back, the same side that has the spline. So it looks like the hole that has a little bit more space from the end of the shaft, the one that has the most, that's what goes on the top. All right, guys, you want to make sure that these arms are actually coming across like that. And if you don't get that right, you'll have to take the main shaft back out and move them to the correct position. Let's install the Swash. We'll get our ball length pliers for this part right here. Get them snapped down. Now you have a couple of different on here. The one that's angled like that is actually for your blade grip. The ones that are completely straight are for these arms. Okay, we got that We can go ahead and put our links for the blade grips on here. Let's go ahead and pop these 3 on here. So we got those links on there. Now we can actually just pop on our servo arms. And there we go, guys. We got the whole thing installed. The swash plate, the head, the main shaft, and everything are all together, and they are ready to be installed onto the heli.